The empowered feminine energy. I wanted to share my personal journey up until now of my exploration of the dynamics around feminine energy and masculine energy. And this is because I was really fascinated with what I thought was like this gap in my awareness when it came to relationships mostly, but also mode of operating, because I could feel it at one point in my life, in my business, like I was getting kind of burnt out, like, or close to it, where I was driving, I was like going, but it felt difficult to relax and enjoy the process. And I heard about this concept everywhere. I'm like, I don't know about this relaxing thing. And not only that, it felt a little bit more difficult to access my more emotional self, my heart. And so I got really curious about this and started to look online about masculine and feminine energies. And I found some resources, and I found some books that really spoke to masculine energy. So I actually started with the masculine energy first, and perhaps it resonated with me more because the masculine energy within me was more activated. But I'm talking about the empowered feminine today because I've learned so much about some of the shadow sides of masculinity that I had personally grown up with within my childhood. And as a result of that, I was like, okay, if I'm not being provided for, taken care of in a way that like I felt I should, I'll just take it over and I'll do it myself. So I learned how to become very independent, which is a masculine quality trait, quite early on. So in a way, it was like this protective mechanism that I had. So I operated more from my thinking, would analyze things, because deep down it didn't feel safe to be expressive, to be emotional, because that was shut down right away. That was really punished in my family growing up. And so I've in a way overdeveloped the masculine side and sometimes the shadow aspect of it. And by the way, we all have aspects of the divine feminine, divine masculine within us. So it doesn't matter if you identify with male or female. We have both energies within us. And at our highest expression, we have both the divine feminine and the divine masculine activated within ourselves. And both masculine and feminine have the shadow sides as well, which can unfortunately become triggered or activated. So in my pursuit of just wanting independence and creating safety for myself, because I felt like I couldn't count on others, which is a divine feminine attribute, is that ability to, connect with others, whether it's connecting with men, counting on your father, or connecting with women, other women in your lives. I just felt really alone in that. So in my aloneness, I activated more of that masculine energy where I would be self-sufficient, I'd be independent. And because there were times when it was scary, like both growing up and going through significant changes, like where my world was totally rattled and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have a backup plan. When I was like paying for my living and groceries on borrowed money, and there was no backup plan. Like I was the backup plan for me and my family, and I was like, oh shoot, okay. So I had to really pull it together, and I really had to count on that divine masculine kicking in. But like any quality, if it's overexpressed and is out of balance, that can cause issues. So I was feeling overwhelmed, tired, on my way to burn. I don't think I was fully burnt out because I kept going there wasn't ever a period where it was like, I can't just get out of bed. But I was on that path. And so this just led to some deep curiosity about, well, what could I do, and what patterns had I been living with that maybe served me for a purpose, but aren't going to be the things that will carry me forward. And so at first, like when I was starting to get in touch with my feelings and my heart, it didn't come super naturally to me. Or if emotions came up, they would just come out like this explosion or like this volcano, or like, oh my gosh, and it felt really scary or uncontrollable, and I'd be like weeping or sobbing, and I'm like, oh my gosh, where did this come from? And it was like the suppression of the feminine, where it got to be just so much it couldn't be kept down anymore, so that it would explode out. I remember sobbing. I was a teenager and just sobbing and sobbing and sobbing on the couch one day, and my mom was around, and she was like, what happened? And it's not that any one particular thing happened. It was that I was trying to deal with the world and my life in one way that wasn't fully supported. So I believe truly, truly that a healthy feminine in partnership with a healthy masculine within each and every one of us, and broadly in society, is really the answer. So I grew up with a lot of, valuing school and achievement, and I had put a lot of pressure on myself, and there's good pressure, right? That can be a really powerful, amazing thing. But if it's too much, like too much of anything or too little of anything, can lead to the shadow sides being expressed. So it was that. And it's taken years. It's taken years and years. And I still have like these waves for sure of the feminine, but it's not as, doesn't feel as destructive as it felt before. And it's much more welcomed now when I notice it. I was getting a massage the other night. Or, no, it was the morning. It looked like night because I couldn't see any light. My face was down. And something about body work sometimes can connect us with our divine feminine. And it just was unlocking some things that I had kept locked up, and it was processing through my body and my emotions, and I just started to just cry when I was on the table. It was a really, really good, profound release. And so I'm welcoming that now, instead of being really cut off from the feminine, which when that happens, that can really lead us into kind of like an over-exaggerated masculine, or even the shadow expressions of the masculine side. So the empowered feminine, I feel it's important to have that knowing and that trust that everything actually is working out for us, that the universe or God, source, has our back, like truly, truly. So then we're not necessarily counting on someone external to us. Like that's been really powerful for me personally. And feeling like I have that support, feeling like I am provided for. And sometimes I forget, sometimes I forget. But when I am feeling connected, that's that feeling. So then I see examples of it. I see examples of it in, my loved ones. I see examples of it at the store or service people who come by to help fix up the house. I feel really supported, and it reinforces, it's okay to count on others. It's okay for there to be codependency. Like, we're all working at this together, right? None of us would have what we have and be where we are today now in our world if we didn't depend on and count on others to provide things that are necessary: the shelter, the food, the services, our electricity, like so many just basic services. Like, we live in a world where we all count on each other. And so that's a part of it. And then harnessing that emotional flow where we're not judging it anymore as hysterical or crazy or too difficult or too overwhelming. We're actually embracing it and understanding that I'm feeling these things because I'm alive. Like, I get to have this incredible human embodied experience. And, otherwise you'd be like spirit form without having this physical experience. And we're having this earthly experience. We're spiritual beings having a physical experience. And part of that physicality is being able to like feel and like have these incredible bodies, is to marvel and take in the sights of the beautiful sky and the clouds and the birds, and to be touched by the sunrise and the sunset, and to eat and enjoy delicious foods, and like to smell how wonderful that is. So there's this sensuousness and this like physicality, and of course the emotions of all of the incredible experiences we get to have here. It's so rich. And if we push it aside or if we judge it, it really can diminish the potency of that experience. So just being with that and appreciating the embodied feelings and state that you're in, it's so powerful. So that's another thing. There's more, and I'm in the process of, like, this is part of the journey for me. So it's like all these things that I'm uncovering. So I definitely don't have it all figured out. This is an area of like major growth and learning and interest. So I'm learning so I started off by reading and listening to a ton of resources and books from the masculine perspective, and then I discovered some resources that spoke to the feminine perspective, and really, like, in a world where it's important to see things from the exaggerated polarized views. But we've seen a lot of that now, and I really believe now it's like this integration of there is this middle, there is this divine balance that is happening within every single one of us and in the world. And I feel that and believe that so strongly. So whatever your journey is, whether you're a man or a woman and you have more of that feminine energy or masculine energy within you, whether it's more of the divine form or more of the shadow or some combination of all of the above, it's all amazing, and you're going to have a different expression of it than anyone else. And I feel like that's a beautiful, like, that's it, right? That's why we're here. That's why your soul is here, having this incredible journey. So I feel like owning that, really allowing yourself to be connected with whatever that creative force, that source, that light is for you, and acknowledging when there is that physicality, when there's that expression through your emotions, that's one way for you to be, for all of us to be operating from that empowered feminine. There's much more. More is coming, but stay tuned. And if you resonated with this, I would love it if you subscribed, if you shared this, and if you felt like it, be courageous and share a comment as to what aspects most resonated with you. I love reading the comments. And if you want to learn more, there's a lot that I do within helping people's businesses and their well-being, health, and energy. So there's some links to my website and free trainings in the description. You can check those out. But I just really felt called to share about the empowered feminine. I will be doing another episode on the empowered masculine in a future episode. So yeah, stay tuned. I'm Serenity Iris, and I'll talk to you soon.